Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video I've got two stories for you, both of them have updates and the main story has a prequel story that also has an update. Now let's get started with the first story. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole with an H and it's by user Visual Lifeguard 8937. Am I the a-hole for wanting to break up with my girlfriend after her ex's funeral? So, my girlfriend and I have been together for about 4 years. She used to be close friends with her ex. However, he tried to make a move on her while she and I were together, so she cut off their friendship. They had known each other for about 10 years. They were high school sweethearts and stayed together throughout college. They broke up because he did not want kids. He died recently, and my girlfriend was invited to the funeral. While I wasn't happy, so to speak, to see my girlfriend cry about this guy, I swallowed my emotions and offered my full support. She asked me to come with her. Here's where things get messy. She kept talking about how she wished they never broke up in the first place and that she'd never met someone who she loved as much as him. She made a speech about how she says that if things had been different, they'd be a happy family with children. I had to force myself not to say anything then. Now we're back home and she hasn't said anything about what she said. I'm so close to just leaving, but I just don't know if she only said that out of grief. Well, OP, if you want to break up with her for this, then of course you are not the a-hole. Does it matter why she said what she said? She literally said that she's never met anybody she's loved as much as her ex, so you don't count. And that if things were differently, they would be a happy family that has children. So basically, if the guy at any point would have said, you know what, I've changed my mind, I want kids, she would have dropped you in a second. And you're so close to leaving? Honestly, if I was in your shoes, the best I would have done is dropped her off at her parents' house or actually left after just gotten home. That's how much 4 years meant to you. I understand being sad that your ex died, but this is too much. Wishing we were never a couple, I'll grant your wish and I'm gone. And if I'm starting to get messages about how much of a horrible person I am, well, those numbers are gonna get blocked. So yeah, OP, if you break up with her, absolutely not the a-hole. And what do you guys think about OP's crappy situation? How would you have handled it, or what would you have done if that would have happened to you? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Next, Status 8671 says, not the a-hole. People can say, be understanding, she's dealing with a heavy loss, but that doesn't magically fix the sting of the words she said that hurt you. If this was within 6 months of the breakup, maybe I'd be more understanding. However, you've been together for 4 years. They ended due to his desire to not have children. So not only is she hurting you, she's lying about a dead guy by telling everyone the fantasy life she'd imagined for them as if it was holy writ. What the F? She's more than allowed to feel grief due to their decade-long history. However, she's not allowed to treat you as less than, second, or just good enough. You 100% deserve someone who puts you first always. With very rare exceptions, and this ain't one of them, honey, as I'm sure you've done for her. Hell, you went with her to the funeral of her ex because she asked. You were there for her and she showed you where you rank in the grand scheme of things. Leave for you. Choose to put yourself first because guess what? She showed you in a room full of people where you rank. You deserve more than this betrayal. Boomer Quest says, not the a-hole. It's completely unacceptable for her to say those things to you. She is full on telling you that you were the backup and she cares so little about you that she'll just tell you to your face with no remorse or consideration for your feelings. Insane. And OP responded, to be clear, she didn't say these things to me. She was talking to others. That doesn't make it better. Captain Shakari says, not the a-hole, similar situation. My now ex-girlfriend of about 4 years at the time broke down crying one weekend when her ex before me got married. They had been broken up for 5 to 6 years at that point, and that was the beginning of the end of us because it really started to open my eyes to the person I was living with. Now, you can still talk it out with her if you choose, but don't lose sight of how this made you feel when you do. Well, the community agrees OP is not the a-hole, and I don't know, maybe I was too harsh. I don't think so, because honestly, if somebody says that kind of thing to you, it just means you don't mean anything to them, and you just need to move on like right away. I don't think there's even a need to talk about why they said what they said. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys let me know. In any case, here's where the prequel post comes in. Somebody in the community found a post that could be OP's girlfriend who posted about a month before OP. She later deleted the account, but as we know, in the internet there is nothing lost. So before we move on with original OP's update, let's read her whole post, the judgment, her update, and then we'll move on with original OP's update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole with an H, and it's by user deleted. Am I the a-hole for wanting to go to my ex's funeral? So, my boyfriend, 29, and I, 29, have been together for about 4 years now. I made a terrible mistake with my ex and slept with him about 2 years ago. Yes, while my boyfriend and I were together. I told my boyfriend and I begged him to stay. After some hard work, we reconciled. One of the things he told me I needed to do if I wanted him to stay is to cut off my ex from my life. So I did. My ex and I have amazing memories together. We traveled to several countries together. We broke up because he didn't want children and I did. But we continued to be good friends up until I cheated with him. 2 days ago, I found out he died in a car accident. His mom reached out to let me know. My boyfriend and I currently live together, and he noticed me crying my eyes out. He asked why, and I told him the truth. He went, "Oh." He held me until I fell asleep. I was messaging my ex's mom and she invited me to his funeral. When I told my boyfriend I was going to go, he got mad. He told me his feelings were complicated. He says he's not going to stop me from going, but he just doesn't know how to feel about this. He says he can't be supportive of this, and he said if I decided to go to my ex's funeral, he doesn't know if he would still want to stay with me. I want my boyfriend to be supportive when I'm in so much pain, but I know I can't blame him. Well, OP2, the question is, am I the a-hole for wanting to go to my ex's funeral? The question is, am I the a-hole for going to the funeral of the guy I cheated on my boyfriend with? And yeah, you would be the a-hole. Still, it's your decision. If you want to go to your ex's funeral, that's fine, but just don't expect your boyfriend to sit around waiting for you or to support you while you're doing that. Honestly, the fact that he held you throughout the night while you were crying for the guy you cheated on him with, that says a lot about him. I would think that's a lot more than a lot of other people would have done in his shoes. So yeah, keeping it short and to the point, you would be the a-hole. And what do you guys think about this prequel post? Let me know also in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community judgments to see what they said. The Tatted Wieners, leaving things to the imagination I see, says, this man was holding you while you cried about the dude you cheated on him with? That is him being supportive. Fish0814 says, first of all, jumping on someone's penis is a deliberate act, not a mistake. You are extremely lucky you still have a boyfriend. You going to his funeral is reminding your boyfriend of you jumping on his penis and reopening old, very painful wounds. Just let it go and leave it in the past. Jeez. Can't you see the pain you're causing? If you decide to go, you are still choosing him over your boyfriend and he's dead. You are a supreme a-hole. He should just go ahead and send you packing. A mistake indeed. And Clear-Headed 01 says, you're the a-hole for cheating and you're the a-hole for wanting to go to the funeral. You cheated with your ex and agreed to cut him from your life. And now you're signaling to your boyfriend that because the guy you cheated with still has a place in your heart, you're going to his funeral and mourn him? Honestly, if I were your boyfriend, even mentioning wanting to go to the funeral of the guy you cheated with would make me break up. Second OP's update. After a while, my boyfriend came to talk. He said he should have handled his response better, but that he's still very conflicted. He says that we still need to have a deep talk about our relationship. He says he won't say anything and that he will be there while I grieve. But we still need to talk. I pushed my luck a little and asked him to come with me to the funeral. He took a deep breath and said, sure. I guess for now, I can focus on my grieving. So, the community believes this person, who may or may not be original OP's girlfriend, is a huge a-hole and she pushed her luck and is getting the boyfriend to go with her. So at this point I'd ask you, do you think this post was made from OP's girlfriend or not? And while you ponder on that, let's move on to original OP's update to see how his story ends. Hello everyone, it's been a stressful couple of days and my post got a lot more attention than I expected. It was overwhelming, to be honest. It's been a week since the funeral itself and I've been talking to some friends as well as reading comments on my last post. Truth be told, I've been hesitant to talk about this with my girlfriend because she's still depressed. She's not talking to me at all, and I've been taking care of everything around our place. She's just been lying in our bed. I've tried to talk to her, but she just shuts me out. I've been reflecting on our past relationship and realized a couple of things. My girlfriend was never as passionate with me as she was with her ex. She never did anything as romantic or thoughtful for me when compared to her ex. For example, she's never gone traveling for more than 3 days with me, but she traveled often with her ex, sometimes for years. It's not like I haven't offered. I was simply told to get over it and that each relationship is different, and people said crap like, if she wanted to be with her ex, she would be. Something also to note is that some of you actually pointed my attention to another post. One that's about a girl going to her ex's funeral. I read the post, and I don't know if it's actually my girlfriend or not. Some details are different, like our age, we're both 30. Also, I never said anything about breaking up with her for going to the funeral. I wasn't exactly happy to see her mourn the guy who wanted to sleep with her while she was with me, but I didn't actually say anything. Now, that post admitted that she actually cheated. I thought about this for a second, but it doesn't matter because if she cheated or not, I already broke up with her. I did try to talk with her, but she refused at first, not responding to me. When I told her I was leaving, she finally said something to me. I basically told her that I felt like crap ever since she said those things at the funeral and how I feel like she would rather be with her ex than me. That I felt like her second choice. She started to yell at me, calling me selfish and that she's lost one of the most important people in her life and I shouldn't make this about me. I was too tired to try to yell back. My things were already packed up. I'm staying with my parents for a while. Our lease doesn't expire for a few months, so I don't know what she's planning to do. I don't know what to do now. I thought I was going to marry this girl someday and have kids, but she wanted someone else all this time. I appreciate all the comments and I don't know if I'm going to post another update, but thank you. Well, OP, lessons learned, and I think it's a positive update because you got out of a relationship that you should have got out of a long time ago. If she did actually cheat on you because she is the person from the previous post, then you stayed 2 years too long. And if she isn't the person from the other post because those details don't match up exactly, then you still stayed too long after everything that she said at the funeral. In any case, it's over now, so you just focus on yourself and in your future. Take care, OP, and thank you so much for sharing. And now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Bridezilla, and it's by user LollyLooWho. Mom changed wedding cake behind back and doesn't know that I know. What should I do? My fiance and I get married this fall, and the cake has been a huge point of contention with my mom. Long saga, but the gist is that we wanted a dessert bar or cheesecake instead of a traditional cake. My mom initially insisted on having at least a small cake for us just to cut. We compromised and got quotes. Right before we put a deposit down, she decided that having just a cake for us and not for the guests was tacky, so we needed to get a sheet cake to serve as well. We were annoyed because she was the one to suggest it, so we cut our losses and opted to do the tiered cheesecake and mini cheesecakes as we originally wanted. My mom would not let this go for the past 6 months. She then decided to focus on pushing for a groom's cake. My fiance did not want one. When I told her this, she said, "It's really only a groom's cake in name and not about what he wants." I told her a firm no, multiple times because she wouldn't give up. That brings us to this week. I got a text yesterday saying she was at the bakery and paid for the order. I got suspicious because I never included her in those communications. I called the bakery today and was told by a very apologetic employee that my mom had added a multi-tiered groom's cake with different fillings, flowers, the whole kit and caboodle. We still have cheesecake, but I feel like it'll look silly next to what is essentially a wedding cake. My question is, what do I do? She doesn't know that I know. I'm furious and hurt. Obviously, it's just a cake, but it's not really about that now. She went behind my back and crossed multiple boundaries after I told her no. Am I being a bridezilla for not letting her have her traditional wedding cake? No, OP, why would you be a bridezilla? It's your and your fiance's wedding and neither of you want that cake that your mom is pushing for. Now, the way I see it, you've got three choices. One, you let your mom have her win, which I wouldn't do because it sends a really big message that she can just put her thumb in the relationship whenever she pleases and go behind your back. Not a good lesson to teach. Two, you cancel the order. You're the boss there, so you can just say, no, cancel the order and please refund the money to my mother after the wedding so she doesn't get wind of the cancellation. Or three, you talk to the venue and tell them to simply not take that cake out. And when the cake arrives, put it in storage in the refrigerator or something and give it to your mom at the end of the reception or the next day. You just arrive with her cake and say, here's your cake, mom, enjoy. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? Do you think she's being a bridezilla? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Stem of Sage says, why should she have a cake at your wedding? If you don't want a cake, just change the order back and call it a day. And add a password for all your vendors moving forward so changes can't be made without it. And OP responds, everyone I've spoken to has either been in the camp of, well, they're paying for the wedding, or not her wedding, not her cake. I think that's why I'm torn, because they are paying, but changing the order behind my back, I'm more upset about the violation of trust than the actual cake, I think. Tropics and Caffeine says, ask the bakery to convert the cake into additional cheesecake and mini cheesecakes. Maybe a smaller groom's cake that looks nothing like a wedding cake. Do not tell her you did this. When you go to the bakery, have a password put on the order so it cannot be changed after you make the appropriate changes. She thinks she got something over you. If she does check on it, the password will stop her from making any other changes. If she shows up at the venue with yet another cake, instruct the people at the venue to put it in the back or not bring it out. And OP responds, thanks for the advice. Having the cake changed to more cheesecakes is a good idea. Never in a million years did I think I'd have to become like one of the Redditors and password protect my wedding, but here we are. Adios Felicia too. Oh, I see what you did there. Says, cancel it. Put passwords on your accounts, all of them. Discuss with your partner how you both want to handle it. It is his day too, and his preference is being ignored as well. Assuming you're not financially reliant on her, whether y'all decides goes. If you're taking money from her, have a conversation with her to clarify if accepting her money means she expects y'all to do things her way. Then discuss the next best action with your partner alone. And OP responds, I agree. Another conversation is definitely needed. I need to push more this time because in previous conversations about budgets and wedding decisions, my mom has repeatedly said that it's our day and to choose what we like. Obviously, there's some sort of disconnect or miscommunication happening. Alright, well, the community was not judging OP on whether she was a bridezilla or not, but they did give her some good ideas on how to handle this thing. Also, we learned that OP's parents are paying for this, but we also learned that the mom has repeatedly said that it's their day and they can choose what they like. So just based on those two things, then I would just cancel the cake or turn the cake into more cheesecakes like OP wanted. Anyways, it's time to move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hello again, a big thank you to everyone who advised me on my original post. I'm now married and at the best, most relaxing honeymoon with my now husband without any pesky family bothering us. By the time I posted, it was too late to cancel the wedding due to deposits and contracts, so it continued as planned. And to clarify, yes, my parents did pay for the wedding, although my husband and I made it clear several times that we did not expect or need them to pay for everything. And no, I don't think them paying excuses my mom's actions. My parents reiterated that it was our wedding and we should do what we wanted. Clearly, the cake was the exception to this, though she had previously said to get cheesecake if that's what we wanted. My husband and I got a laugh out of everyone's suggestions for how to handle the cake. Initially, I wanted to go the petty route and surprise my mom by calling the bakery to change the cake design to something she would find tacky, that would reflect my husband's hobbies, like a groom's cake should do. I had no idea there was such a thing as a groom's cake. After taking a few days to weigh my options, I knew my desire for petty satisfaction would nuke my relationship with my mom, which had truthfully never had this dynamic up until wedding planning. I knew that she absolutely was the one in the wrong and acting like a child. And while I'm the actual child in the relationship, I wanted to be mature and handle this like an adult, if only for my moral high ground. I communicated with my parents and listed all the reasons why this situation, and others throughout the wedding planning process, was hurtful and completely out of line. Shock of the century to everyone on Reddit, I'm sure it did not go well. There was a series of texts I received from my mom that demonstrated she couldn't take accountability or comprehend that I wasn't mad that she ruined my wedding by ordering a cake, but rather that she went behind my back knowing it would surprise and upset me on my wedding day. I attempted multiple times to redirect to the actual issue with little success. We ended the conversation with her apologizing for a cake, which made my husband and me so upset. This obviously wasn't a genuine apology or the main issue, even if she thought it was. She also agreed to move the groom's cake to a meal we had the day before the wedding, which I was fine with. At this point, we were a week out from the wedding, and the thought of continuing to press the issue was too much for me to handle with everything else on my plate. I dropped the rope leading up to the wedding so I could refocus on enjoying my wedding as best as I could. I interacted with my mom as little as possible the day of, and our wedding party and coordinator did a fantastic job being a buffer. While I've had some contact with her since, it has dramatically declined. I can get some much needed space. Obviously, we'll need to have some tough conversations, but I'm choosing to spend my time with my new husband and getting back into therapy first. Weddings, man, they really bring out the crazy in people. Oh, and the cheesecakes were a huge hit, by the way. Winky smiley face and coffee. Alright, OP, I guess there was some sort of a compromise considering your mom overly stepped every boundary she could. That sucks. But still, you got married, you're happy, you're enjoying your honeymoon, and you're over it. At least for now, but you still have to have those conversations with your mom. Anyways, thanks for sharing, OP, and here's wishing you and your new husband the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.